Brown Lounge. I'm Holly Brown, and today I have Carrie Kemp with me. How you doing?
Hi, Holly. How are you?
Good. And Carrie Kemp is the owner of Pizzeria 22, a fabulous restaurant here in Seattle that specializes in pizza, wood-fired oven pizza to be specific. And it's a wonderful restaurant, and he's here to share with us a little bit about his journey from Napoli to Seattle, a little bit about the restaurant business, but more importantly to me, he's going to show us how to make a wonderful pizza that we can actually make at home, since we don't always have a wood-fired oven at our disposal, right?
That's right.
So, Carrie, tell us about your journey from Napoli to Seattle.
I will. Well, a good friend of mine introduced me to the Neapolitan style pizza and the history of it. And I went to Naples and worked at a little pizzeria in Naples called Sorbillo, and pretty much fell in love with the manner in which they make this pizza and the passion that they have for making wood-fired pizza. And that just stuck with me, and lo and behold, eventually I one day opened my own little space here in West Seattle called Pizzeria 22, and we make wood-fired pizza.
Yeah, and it's a great place. Great bar, great bartender.
Yeah.
And everything is made in the oven. That is the oven of the restaurant. Of course, the salad's not made in the oven, but everything from wood-fire clams to the s'mores that you make that are fabulous. It's really wonderful.
Yep.
So what are we going to make today? And tell us what's in the recipe, and we'll get started.
Okay. Today we're going to make a sheet pan pizza, which we're going to pinch into this sheet pan. And the reason we're going to do that is it's just an easy technique, first time at home, to make sure you make a nice crust with your pizza. And we're going to use some great products that you can get at the grocery store as well.
Okay.
And they're very reasonably priced and easy to make, and not too hard on the pocketbook.
So what do we have?
We have some all-purpose flour.
Okay.
We're going to have a packet of yeast as well, some San Marzano tomatoes from Italy. We're going to do New York style sauce today too, so we're going to have some tomato paste and thicken it up a little bit of chili pepper flake as well with the sauce, some olive oil, salt, pepper, and some dried oregano.
Sounds great. So we're going to learn how to make the dough, we're going to learn how to make the sauce, and then we're going to put some wonderful toppings on it. And you know me, love to throw dinner parties. I think this is a great idea for getting everybody together and getting around the table and making pizza together and then enjoying it together. So I love this idea. I'm really excited to learn this recipe. And so stick around. We'll get the party started here and show you how to make it. Okay, so we're going to start. Our first step here is to make the wonderful dough.
Yep.
So how are we going to do that?
First of all, we're going to start with 1 cup of water. You want warm water, about 105 degrees.
Okay.
And then you're going to add your packet of yeast to the warm water. Now this is fast, quick start yeast. So this yeast is going to take off right away. So you just dump it right in the water. Take your whisk and just give it just a slight whisking to get the dry part immersed in the water. And really you want to let that set up and get the yeast bubbling, which with this quick start yeast happens really fast. It'll start bubbling a little bit.
Okay.
And it's already bubbling here because it is a quick activating yeast.
Okay,
so
cool.
After that you want to add your salt, and salt is really key to dough. If you don't add enough salt to your dough, people aren't going to be super impressed with your dough. You'll be amazed that salt is kind of the key ingredient with dough. Yeast responds to temperature, which is why we're using warm water, and that speeds up the process.
And you said when we got the warm water going, you said it needs to be hot enough so that you can still put your fingers underneath it, but it's not burning you.
That's
That's kind of the way to know that it's the right level of heat in the water. Okay, cool.
Or 105 to 110.
Okay.
So not too hot because that'll kill the yeast.
So we're going to just let this sit, right?
Let it sit. You can add two scoops, 2 teaspoons of salt.
Level or heaping?
Heaping's good.
Heaping?
Yeah.
Heaping.
Yep.
Heaping. 1.
A nice amount of salt in there.
Okay.
And then we want to whisk that
2.
and make sure that salt dissolves in there as well.
Okay.
Now you go ahead and pour your yeast mixture into your bowl. We're using a bowl today. You can use a mixer at home if you have one with a hook which is the standard piece of equipment to use for making dough.
Okay.
So we're going to add 3 cups or 2 to 3 cups of flour to our yeast mixture to make our dough ball. One dough ball is going to make 1 pizza in the sheet pan.
Okay.
All right, so the first cup we'll add, and we'll actually whisk in with the whisk, because what we're going to do is kind of try to make a pancake batter consistency here.
Oh.
So we'll slowly add the flour into the bowl, and we're whisking until we get a nice creamy pancake batter look to it. We don't want any lumps or anything like that. And also we're infusing air into the mixture too, which a dough mixer does. It pulls and moves the pasta, the dough around in the bowl, and also incorporates air into the dough, which is essential in making good pizza dough. After the first cup, we're gonna switch to my stainless steel spoon here, because the flour will start sticking inside your whisk and makes it very difficult. Whereas the spoon.
Here, I'll stir while you get the next bit going there.
Okay.
Righty.
So we're going to add another cup of flour.
Okay. Just a little bit at a time?
A little bit at a time, and you just want to stir in with your spoon. And about midway to 3/4 of the way through this cup of flour, we're going to start developing some dough that's going to start being harder and harder to deal with. Go ahead and add some more.
So that's another reason for moving to the spoon too, I
The
would
spoon
imagine.
is easy to get off and doesn't stick inside the whisk itself. You keep adding the dough until it becomes just less sticky enough to use it with your hands.
Okay.
All right, so we'll
Let's sort of show what this looks like here so that folks can see. It's definitely getting to be more of what you imagine a dough to start looking like there, as opposed to the batter look, right? Okay, let's just finish that up.
So the goal here, and the reason why we're doing this build-up in this way, is to slowly incorporate the flour into the dough, because we don't want to add too much flour.
Okay.
I can see that it's wet, so
Yeah.
we're going to go to our 3rd cup of flour now.
Okay.
And this recipe I've found really about 2 1/4 to 2 1/2 cups of flour.
Okay.
And you want to mix it until, we'll add just a little bit more flour and mix it until we can feel that we can probably start picking this up with our hands. And what we'll do is we'll take it out of the bowl and put it right onto the butcher block here that we have, and then we'll start kneading it with our hands.
Okay. So are there any gotchas that we need to just be careful of, something that we don't want to do?
You don't want to add too much flour.
Okay.
So that 3rd cup of flour, if you have the whole thing, you're going to have a very dry piece of dough that's going to be, like I said, difficult to work with. You want it soft and pliable, and to where it sticks to your hand still, just barely.
Okay.
And I'm just incorporating the last bits of flour in the bowl here. And it's wanting to stick to my hands, but soon I'll be able to formulate this into a ball.
Great.
Yeah. I'm a little tall, so I can't really stand up.
Gary would be out of the frame if he were standing up. How tall are you?
I'm 6'3". So.
Yeah. It's a little, I know, it's a little bit hard to get you in the shot.
That's
But this is
okay.
working out. This is working out really good.
So I'm going to start kneading the dough, and it's starting to release itself from my fingers a little bit.
I can see that.
But you want to keep going until you get most of this flour in here. We have about 1/2 cup of flour left over, and that's just about right. So I'm kneading it and folding it, and soon I'll just make it into a little ball here. It's still kind of sticking to my fingers, though, so I'm still working the last bits last bit of this flour into the dough, so I'll know exactly when the right time is.
So I noticed that you're wrapping it into the center of the ball,
That's
right?
right.
Is that a technique that we should
It is a
be
technique.
aware of?
You want to fold inwards like this when you formulate a dough ball. What you're doing is, again, you're kind of just incorporating pockets of air in there, and it's just it's a technique of kneading the dough like you would bread.
Okay, great.
Telltale sign is when, and I'll show you here once we get it out of the bowl, is that it just barely wants to stick to your fingers. And that's why you would keep kneading it, churning it over, because inside the middle of the ball might be still wet. So you keep wanting churning the dough and exposing new parts of the dough that might have been hidden before to the flour until you get the consistency you want.
It's looking good.
Yep. So
Looking
now
really
we're at a
good.
point where it's not sticking my hands anymore.
Yeah.
I'll put a little bit more flour on it.
Okay.
And then we're going to just transfer it right to our...
Beauty. It's warm. It's not sticking. It's quite beautiful.
Put a little bit more flour on there. So now we can do a kneading technique where we want to knead, you can knead this for 10 minutes if you want to until it gets real elastic and kind of shiny. You can see it wants to stick a little teeny bit to your cutting board, so we can add just a touch of flour, but you don't want it so dry that it doesn't stick. So
Okay.
you can literally see how it sticks to my finger a little bit, but
Yep.
releases.
Yep.
That's perfect.
Okay, great.
So we're kneading. You can spread it out, put your weight into it.
Do we want to rolling pin it?
Never rolling pin.
Never rolling pin.
So what dough does is when it sets up, it starts expanding and making these little pockets inside. And that's the characteristics we want in a dough. We call them cells, or dough cells.
Okay.
And if we use a rolling pin, we're physically just pushing those dough cells down flat. And we want to keep those dough cells. When you bite into the crust of a pizza and you look at it, you see these little pockets of air in there.
Yeah.
Those are the dough cells I'm talking about.
Gotcha. Okay.
We're going to work it into a ball. And again, I'm folding under and kind of pinching at the bottom.
Okay.
And I'm formulating into a ball, a dough ball. You set it down, and then you use the bottom of your hands here, and you just kind of work the ball around at the bottom,
Gotcha.
just like that, until you got a nice little ball.
Beautiful.
And then you can pick it up, and there's our pizza
Great.
dough ball.
It's about the size of a grapefruit.
That's right.
Perfect. Okay, so we're going to let that rise.
We're going to take our bowl. So this is our Italian dough ball bowl here. Just going to set the ball right in the bowl.
Oh, there's the olive oil right there.
There it is. And just a little, just
Pretty.
a drop or two of olive oil, and you just want to, with your fingers,
Look at this.
spread the olive oil
So
around,
beautiful.
and that'll keep the ball from
Okay.
drying out. And then set it up high in your kitchen, somewhere warm in your house.
Okay.
You want the heat on this time of year when you do this.
Right, okay.
Like I said, yeast responds to temperature.
Right.
So I suggest 3 to 4 hours, and then that'll rise and double in size. And then you pull it down and just punch it back down into a ball again. And then you transfer that to a plate, and we'll do that. That's the next step, so I'll show you how to do that.
Perfect. Okay. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Okay, this is our dough that's risen after 4 hours. It should look just like that.
Nice.
Doubled or tripled in size. It might be a little dry on top. Don't worry about that because of the olive oil, it's going to come right out of this bowl. And you're going to just take it right out, and you're going to tamp it down. And again, I'm using in my hands, I'm just reforming it into a ball. And I'm tucking it under and folding at the same time. And just like before, I'm going to use the edges of my fingers, and I'm going to create a new dough ball, just like that. Now this you could make pizza with, but we're going to transfer that to a plate, cover it with some plastic, and put it in the refrigerator overnight, just like that.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Here's our dough ball that's risen and been punched back down to a dough ball size. And we're just going to place that on a plate right in the middle.
Great.
And we're going to cover it with saran wrap, which it's going to keep it from drying out. You kind of want to tuck it around the sides.
Like that or
Yep,
like that?
down on the sides. So just so it's tight to the edges of the ball a little bit, with a little bit of a gap.
Okay.
And that's going to keep it from drying out. If it's exposed to air, it'll crust over. And this thing's going to expand, and you'll see double the size. So the next step will show you what this looks like after it's sat in the refrigerator all night. And then you want to pull it out and let it warm up about maybe half an hour before you pinch it into a sheet pan.
Okay.
All right.
And why do you not want to use it cold?
Well, if you use dough that's cold, it's not going to fully cook the way you'd like it. The characteristics that you want in dough, the browning, so on and so forth, it isn't going to happen if it's entirely cold.
Okay.
So
That's good to know.
it stifles the dough a little
Okay.
bit. Yeah?
That's good to know. Well, you know what you're talking about because Carrie just told me that he's made over 10,000 dough balls.
At least. At least. That's
That
probably
is a
good
lot of
launching
dough
point.
balls.
Yeah,
Okay. All right. So our next step is to make the sauce, right?
that's right. Well, actually, we have one more step.
Oh.
I'm going to show you Well, yeah, let's go make the sauce.
Okay,
That's
okay,
good.
we're going to go make the sauce. We'll be right back. Okay, we're ready to make the sauce. This looks pretty simple. I mean, the ingredients look really simple.
Very simple.
I love it.
Again, stewed tomatoes or crushed tomatoes.
Okay.
Some tomato paste, olive oil, chili pepper flakes, some dried oregano, salt and pepper.
Love it. Okay.
So we're going to take our stewed tomatoes and just drop them in. And then we're going to add our tomato paste.
I probably should have worn my apron for this one, huh?
Yeah.
Especially when we get that immersion blender going.
That's right. You don't need an immersion blender. You can buy tomato sauce, which is already pureed, which works just as fine. And we'll add. The reason why we're adding the tomato paste is just with this style, New York style pizza sauce is very thick, so or thicker than Neapolitan style. So
and adding pizza sauce, paste does sweeten a bit. Does sweeten the sauce a bit.
It does.
Some people really like a little bit of a sweeter sauce.
And with the dried oregano and olive oil, you can add garlic to this. We add a little bit of crushed red pepper, not for heat really, it just rounds out the flavor and gives it some, people put all kinds of stuff in their sauce. Tabasco, you'd be surprised. But Italians really aren't huge on garlic, to tell you the truth. And so we're going to...
That's so funny because I did a segment with Vito Montanarelli, who you know,
Yeah.
and we were doing a red sauce with him, and he was teasing me because I'm like, don't you want more garlic in there? He said, no, you Americans, you love your garlic.
Well, Italian food and pizza are a balance, a very important balance of ingredients.
Yeah.
And when you get them just right, it's a simple balance. And it seems real simple, but it's really easy to foul up.
Yeah.
So
That's duly noted.
That's right.
Simple, balanced.
So we're going to simply shake in a little bit of chili pepper flakes, maybe half a teaspoon or so. And again, not for heat, but for characteristics.
Okay.
You know, a pinch of salt and pepper, a little more salt, then a couple of pinches of salt. The dried oregano is key. Probably a good tablespoon and a half of dried oregano.
That looks beautiful.
And then we're going to maybe a tablespoon of olive oil or two. And that's pretty much it there.
Are we going to immerse?
We can immerse now just to smooth it out.
Okay. I know I'm going to wish that I had. You do it.
Okay, I'll do it. These things are great.
Stand back.
If you want one of these, just go to your local Goodwill. There's a ton of them.
That's beautiful.
Yep.
Okay. Great. I see a little bit of specks, but I was standing back.
That's
That was
okay.
good.
A little bit of chunky's okay.
You
If
did
want
good.
chunky sauce, it's not the end of the world.
So this is our sauce, right?
Pretty much. So now you want to let this sit overnight as well.
Oh,
You
and
can
why is
use
that?
it now because we're using dried oregano. That's going to give that oregano time to permeate and the chili pepper through the sauce.
Okay.
By all means, you could use it now,
Yeah.
but it's much better if you let it sit overnight with your dough.
Okay, good to know.
Yep.
So it's best if we do sort of a 24-hour prep before
It
our
is.
pizza party.
Not mandatory. You can do it same day, certainly, but if
Okay.
you want to send it over the top and really impress your guests, that's what's going to do the trick.
Okay.
For sure.
Over the top in taste.
In
So,
taste.
okay, sounds great. So our next step is actually to put this pizza together, right?
That's right. We're going to put it all together next.
So this is the moment that I've been waiting for,
Mm-hmm.
to get that dough into that pan and see how you pinch it in and what that technique is. So here we are. This is our dough. Actually, this was the dough that we made in advance, so
That's
it was
right.
sitting overnight in the refrigerator.
Yep.
Right? So it has grown.
It has grown. We wanted to show you what it looks like after sitting in your refrigerator for 24 hours. That little ball of dough is now increased quite some size.
I'll take that for you.
Thank you. And what we're going to do is we're just going to pinch that into our sheet pan.
Okay.
Okay, so now we've transferred the dough ball to our oiled pan, a little olive oil in there. We're just going to take our fingers and we're going to apply this dough ball into the pan. And again, you want to make sure your dough is warmed up closer to room temperature. And this, you kind of got to manhandle this and show them who's boss a little bit. You want to press the dough into the areas that you want it, working your ways out. You can see little areas where it's thicker and built up, and just work from there. And now we're getting close to getting into the corners of the sheet pan. And you can see it springing back. See how that is there? Just be patient, and like I said, just keep at it. We're going to start formulating our dough and making our crust, or our edge, our conicione. And so you can see now that we're formulating this nice crust.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
And I see what you mean about patience.
Patience, it takes patience. And so you can see here we got a little hole there.
Yeah.
So all you do is just pinch it together. Pinch and pound is what I say.
Okay.
Then pinch it and pound it back, and it'll kind of disappear. It might pop its head out again, but just pinch it back together and then pound it down or squeeze it with your fingers. And you can work more dough from a thicker spot into another spot. Pretty much we're at a point now where we got a nice crust around the whole pizza and pushed all the way into the edges. And we're ready for our pizza sauce. Okay, now we are going to add our pizza sauce to the dough. You can use a regular size serving spoon, and you just want to kind of spread it out. You don't want to use too much. You should be able to kind of see through it. Just make sure you don't over sauce the dough, because then it won't cook all the way through. It'll actually prohibit the dough from getting cooked underneath all the ingredients. So spread it around with the bottom part of your spoon as such. Make sure we get into the corner, but just to the edge of the crust. We don't want to go up onto the crust. Just like that. Now, you always want to put a little bit of sauce between a little bit of cheese between the sauce and the first layer of ingredients. So just a light smattering of cheese around. Like so. And we're going to start with pepperoni on half. And we can just methodically put these down like so. I like to have a bite of pepperoni just about every bite, so you can do it pretty tight like this. And then the other half we're going to do the vegetarian. So first I'm going to start with my roasted zucchini. I roasted these this morning in my wood-fired pizza oven, so they're delicious, of course. And these you can spread out a little bit more. They're very big, but the zucchini you want to cut kind of thick if you want to roast it before you put it on the pizza. You want it kind of thick, or else it gets real soft and mushy and wants to fall apart, and doesn't really add much to the texture when it's that way. Just like so. And then we will add the mushrooms on top of it. Spread them around with your fingers like this. Just let them drop where they may. Again, Italian food is a balance, so you don't want to overly put too much of one ingredient on a pizza. A pizza should be able to see through and see a little bit of everything. Especially with cheese, Americans like just to cover it with cheese, and that also stifles the dough from cooking as well. Last thing we're going to do is top the entire pizza off with cheese. That's the last step. We'll do that now. Again, you want to be able to see the ingredients through the cheese. You don't want to put so much cheese on you can't see anything at all. People love their cheese, I know. But if you want to do that, just make a cheese pizza. There we go. And now we're ready to bake.
So, Carrie, I have to tell you, that looks so delicious.
It's a lot of fun.
I can't wait for it. You know, the other thing that I love, and you said that we could do this with this type of pizza, is to make the crust and maybe not put toppings on it, not put sauce on it. Well, actually, would you put sauce on it if you just wanted to put some fresh toppings, like fresh basil and fresh prosciutto?
You could do just olive oil and a little cheese.
Okay.
And then cook it off, and when it comes out, you can add prosciutto and arugula and basil and that kind of thing. Yeah.
Carrie has a pizza at his place that is all these beautiful fresh ingredients on the top, and that is absolutely my favorite.
It is good. It's very Neapolitan as well.
Yes, and it's beautiful. So we're just getting ready to put this in the oven. Gorgeous.
Thank you.
So any parting thoughts about the oven before we put it in?
Yes. So you want to set your oven about 400 degrees and pop it in the middle of your oven. And if you have a convection oven, that's even better. Okay. The dry heat really bodes well for the crust.
Okay. And about how long?
Probably 10 to 15 minutes. Just keep an eye on it. When the cheese gets very brown, that's when you want to pull it. And we should be perfect after that.
Can't wait. Okay, we're going to put this in the oven, and then we're going to take it out. We're going to eat it.
Yes.
Okay?
All right.
Okay. I'm getting hungry. All right. So the time has come.
Time has come. The
We've got some
pizza.
great looking pizza here. It smells so good. I always say we need smell-o-vision.
That's right.
On the Brown Lounge.
Someday soon. We're working on that.
So let's just show everyone what we've got here. Is that gorgeous or what? Fabulous.
Yep.
Okay. We've got our tools here to serve it up.
So you just generally want to give it a few minutes after pizza comes out of the oven for the cheese to congeal and cool off just a little bit. We have some big pieces of zucchini in here, but generally this style pizza you cut into squares, so you want to just start and depending on how big of squares you want, but usually 3 inches by 3 inches or so is perfect.
Okay.
And
I love the fact, Carrie and I were talking about this earlier, how fun it is to just sit around, make food together, have your friends come over, and have it be something that's just really casual, and you just can, kind of just, you don't have to sit down with a knife and a fork at the table, and you can just really relax. So it's fun to make it, and it's fun to eat it.
Yeah.
So, Carrie, you told me you're going to start a blog.
I am.
Tell me about the blog while I stir us up.
The blog is, you might need to use
okay.
that because I was sitting down a little tough. But
That's okay.
The blog is called Pizza Evangelism.
Yeah.
And what we're doing is we are going to do a pizza a day. We're going to make a different pizza every day for a whole year. And that's 365 pizzas. And then we're going to make a pizza cookbook out of that. Yeah.
That sounds fantastic.
Yeah. It's ambitious, but we can do it. We make pizza every day anyhow. So we're going to start blogging. And it's going to be a video blog. So we'll video making the pizza and what it looks like and a little bit about the ingredients.
So I think you should let people make suggestions on your Facebook page.
That's a great
what
idea.
kind of pizza they want to have on your blog.
That's a beautiful idea.
Yeah,
You can
I
just
love it.
you can
Submit?
yeah, you can. Pizzeria22.com, or you can go to Pizzeria22 at Facebook as well.
Okay, cool.
And pretty soon we'll have a Pizza Evangelism page as well on Facebook.
Ooh, this is a little hot.
It is very
I'm
hot.
just getting a couple pieces there.
Beautiful,
One of
Holly.
each. Isn't that gorgeous?
It is gorgeous.
Can't wait to try it. It's hot.
It's
I'm
hot.
afraid to, it's hot to touch, so I'm not sure I'm ready to put my mouth on it just quite yet, but
Yeah.
I'm going to in a second. I just want to thank you so much for joining us today.
You bet.
And thank you for joining the Brown Lounge. This is where you find great party ideas, dinner party ideas, lots of wonderful food recipe ideas, and you are my pizza man.
Great.
Thanks a lot. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.